In March of 2024, having heard great things about Chile, Rika and I made our way to the bottom of this long country to begin exploring. And when we began, we had no idea what it had in store for us. In this video, we're exploring 4 very different corners of Chile. Watch us get stranded in the desert and almost get pickpocketed. If you're new here, our names are Wyatt and Rika, and since graduating college in 2021, we've been pursuing our goal of visiting 50 countries. Chile is our 27th country, and our first stop is smack dab in the center of Punta Arenas at the Plaza de Armas. As with any Latin country, a plaza has to have a big statue in the middle. This one is no different. Right there is Ferdinand Magellan. He led the first expedition to circumnavigate the entire world, commissioned by the Spanish Empire. And he discovered this little strait, so you didn't have to go around the Tierra del Fuego archipelago, and you can kind of cut through. And Punta Arenas is right on that strait. We actually crossed it with a ferry the other day on a bus from Ushuaia to get here, but yeah. And they named a species of penguin after him. Pretty cool.
This is also where they house the Tourist Information Center. It's right over there. If you need anything knowledge of Punta Arenas and you're a tourist, you go there. Or you look on Google like us. Yeah. This fountain here is super cool because it's kind of like a compass. It looks like one.
Literally is. Yeah, they have the different markers, north, east, south, west. Also, along the compass, they have like different cities that are in that direction.
Love this plaza, lots of trees. Again, a recurring theme in the Patagonia area is that there is a lot of different types of trees all in one area. Real quick before we leave the plaza, we did want to mention one more thing that it had, which is a bunch of like tourist shops, like in these cute little wagons, and they're selling hats and clothes and all your classic tourist knickknacks. It's a cute little stop.
Wow.
There's so many options here. Empanadas, sandwiches, truffles, pizzas.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? ¿Es posible tener como 5 de aluyas? Ah, sí, 5 de esos. Ah, sí, aluya sola y también una empanada de manzana, por favor. Y una empanada frita con queso. Got a bunch of food. We got aluyas, empanadas de queso, empanadas de manzana, apple empanadas. It's like a dessert. Let's see. Start with the cheese. So simple. So delicious. Cheese and bread. Dumpling. That's bomb. Empanadas of all forms are common throughout South America. But they're different versions everywhere. That one's in Chile. First impressions, they're just big. Like other places, they're kind of small. I'm not complaining. This is an apple one. It's like a dessert, sweet empanada, powdered sugar over the top. Better than apple pie. It's just the dough is really like soft and it doesn't crumble like the normal apple pie, which I like. It's like a little pocket of pie slathered with powdered sugar on top, cut up apples and brown sugar and syrup inside. Just fantastic.
I'm going to try tortilla de papas, which is fried potatoes with chicharrón inside, which is a type of meat. And actually, this is really only popular in the south of Chile, not the north, because you can't grow potatoes in the north. You can only grow them in the south. It's such a long country that there's such variation in climates, which I think is really interesting. It's a little bit drier than I expected and like harder, but the potatoes don't really just like melt. It's more of like a bready type of outer layer, which I think is interesting. The meat is juicy and really good. Chicharrón is a type of pork, not smoky, just savory.
Lastly, this is hayuya, which is like a circular biscuit, really popular in Chile. We actually had no idea what they were until we were just walking around Punta Arenas and saw them everywhere. Just people carrying around these bags full of them. But I read online they come during Easter, but I asked the guy and he was like, no, year round. So it's just like a bread, but just a biscuit. They usually eat it with like jam and stuff, but super common. White, really spongy bread. I feel like it'd be really good with olive oil or like peanut butter and jam in there. Well, that was delicious.
Super delicious.
$9 for all that. Rika's thinking it looks like rain. Definitely doesn't look super promising. A lot of stray dogs here in Punta Arenas. Have you noticed that too?
Yeah, and pet dogs. There's just dogs everywhere.
Yeah. I've been going on runs and every day I just run by and there's like 10 dogs on each street that go rah, 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 rah.
They're all bark at you at once.
From the fence, from behind the fences.
Hilarious.
It's crazy. There's all the pet stores everywhere. Big dog place.
Huge dog place.
Yeah. Punta Arenas, it's where we are. Punta Arenas.
Hey Wyatt, I love ya. I just sent you a secret message.
What's the secret message you sent me?
You're gonna have to wait and see. And just like a reoccurring theme here, there's another ode to the compass right here on the Cerro de la Cruz, which is the Mirador that we're at right now.
What a view, am I right? Look at that. Such colorful buildings, which is a staple of Punta Arenas. It's beautiful. You can just see the strait. You can see the other side of the strait.
And if you bring a lock, you can seal your love on the Cerro de la Cruz. There's a ton of locks that are up there on that little balcony. It's really pretty. Going out to lookouts is such a great perspective of the city, and it's pretty.
Hi. Hey, kitty, 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 kitty. I think its name is Lexi. Oh, she's gone. You can't see me. I am a penguin. All right, there's the Cathedral of Punta Arenas.
Looks really beautiful and got a lot of gold accents. And
Rika loves her gold accents.
I do, and white. It's got a clock tower at the top.
Yeah, it was destroyed in like 1892 and then they rebuilt it, so.
Yeah, so this isn't the original, but it's the reconstructed version.
I don't know if you know this, but you're on a tree. That's like where we have the tripod on. I'll show you. Can I see your phone? You see it? It's kind of camouflage. This is kind of Inception, isn't it? We're filming this camera and then that camera's filming us. That camera to this camera, that camera to this camera, that camera to this camera. That's crazy. Oh, it's nice and warm in here. I think this clerk store is like a tourist shop. Solo pregunta, ¿quién es clerk?
El apellido de mi jefa.
Ah, okay, qué bien. Gracias. So, clerk is the last name of the boss. And I guess it's also this character.
It's also this character that they have for these certain tourist shops.
Tourist shops, yeah. A lot of penguins in there, cute sweaters. Good stuff, good stuff. Let's keep moving.
So we are at Plaza Juan Williams. It is beautiful. You can have the city on one side and then the ocean on the other because it's right on the coast. Great vibes, great vibes. We're gonna walk a little bit along the coast. We are at the Estrecho del Magallanes, or the Magellanic Strait, and it has the classic Punta Arenas sign right behind me.
So yeah, the Magellanic Strait right there. A bunch of boats out there. The tide's out, so the beach stretches super far, which is awesome. And of course, you have the Punta Arenas sign is packed with a bunch of people taking pictures in front of it. It's always funny, there's like an unofficial line system, and people are always like, oh, who gets the picture next? They're getting it right now. Punta Arenas, Sandy Point in Spanish. Makes sense? Because the beach has a lot of sand on it. Pretty cool. Look at all the boats. Because there's just one boat, but nice. So along that entire dock, you can see that it's full of birds. Those are not seagulls, those are cormorants. There's a bunch of different types of cormorants that are native species here. And some of them look like penguins, funny enough. What?
You did great with your bird watching segment.
Yeah? These chairs are pretty nice.
I'm feeling these chairs though. Another thing about Punta Arenas is there is a lot of graffiti all around the streets, and it's like beautiful. There's so many like artists painting so many different things. It's cool.
I don't know at what point graffiti becomes a mural, but they seem like beautiful murals to me. That's a big rainbow.
That's so pretty.
Isn't that cool?
That's so pretty.
It's like the boat is like in the rainbow.
Yeah.
Okay, yet another monument. This is the Monumento a Tripulante Scoletta Ancud. And it is dedicated to the 23 sailors that entered the Magellan Strait back in wait for it, 43.
Your pants are about to fall down.
I have shorts on. I forgot my belt today. Next, we move north to Santiago, a metropolis of 5.6 million people, and try not to get our phones stolen.
Hi everybody, we're starting out today in the center of Santiago in the Plaza de Armas.
Yeah, it's super lively. There's a ton of people, a bunch of stands and like really important governmental buildings that we're gonna explore. Let's do it.
Definitely seems like the biggest plaza I've been to in a while. There's so many people. It's so grand. There's so many trees, there's fountains, statues, stands selling things, caricaturists. Like, what more could you have in a plaza?
I guess to say all of Santiago was too long, so now they just have STGO. Stiga, 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 stiga. I think I'm the fastest person in the world at saying that. Behind us, this guy on the horse, that's Don Pedro de Valdivia. We just read on the plaque over there. He was a Spanish soldier, but then he eventually fought for Chile and kind of freed him. So that was wrong. When we posted the smaller video, a bunch of commenters helped correct us in the fact that Pedro de Valdivia was actually a Spanish conquistador who never really liberated anybody. Although he founded Santiago, which is why there's a statue of him there, he was later executed by the Mapuche Indians, who eventually led the native uprising against the Spanish. Thank you for correcting that pretty big mistake, and now back to the video.
Crazy.
Cool stuff.
Alrighty, now we're going to the Metropolitan Cathedral of Santiago. It already looks beautiful from the outside, so I wonder what it looks like from the inside. Oh my word, there's like a service or something happening. Singing. And the organ.
Okay, we've been in a lot of cathedrals in our day. Never has the organ actually been playing. That is super cool.
I love going to cathedrals. It's always so beautiful. So many intricate carvings and beautiful colors. The soft lighting. It just creates a very peaceful vibe. It's very pretty.
The bigger, more ornate they are, you can tell like the size of the Catholic religion sort of in the country. This is huge. Catholicism is probably huge in Chile. Hola. Hola, thank you. Well, that was cool.
Yeah, I really enjoy this area of Santiago. It's very lively, beautiful.
Loved the group of 4 people drumming. They were all like little one-man bands because they had 3 drums, and then combined it was just like a party.
There's literally people people everywhere. And it's a Wednesday afternoon. I'm so honestly confused by how many people are out and about right now. Isn't it a work week?
Definitely is the most populated city center that we've seen. I think even including Rio de Janeiro and Buenos Aires.
Oh, for sure.
This has way more people. It feels like we're in New York or Tokyo or something. Two birds with one stone. Get a load of this plan. Rika has to pee. I want coffee. The bathrooms here cost 800 pesos, which is like $1. I'm not paying that. I'm gonna get a coffee for that price, and Rika can use the bathroom. Feel better?
Yeah.
The coffee shop's called Haiti. I don't know if this is Haitian coffee. Delish. Should we go to the plaza next?
Yeah.
All done.
We are now at the Plaza de la Constitución, and behind me is the Palacio de la Moneda, also known as the President's Office. It's so spacious. It's not as crowded as the Plaza de Armas. There's a lot of people just chilling on the lawn. A ton of Chilean flags. There's 21 total.
It's crazy to me how similar the Chilean flag and the Texas flag are. Like, put them right there. Aren't they crazy similar? It's just like one of them has the blue stripe all the way down. Love a good flag.
He's a flag guy.
Yeah. You're a statesman. Stateswoman. Future stateswoman.
Call me the President of Chile. We're in the Library of Congress, which serves as the information center for the Senate and Chamber of Deputies here in Santiago. Super cool.
And we're gonna go try to find the oldest book in the library. Oldest book I found in there from 1899. It was like falling apart, had scotch tape. Super cool. One big first impression of Santiago is just how lively it is. I don't know why we didn't think it would be lively, mainly just because we haven't seen this active of a city yet in South America. But this is crazy. There's people everywhere, cars everywhere, hustle and bustle.
Throughout Santiago, they have some of these streets that are painted colorful rainbow colors. So fun.
It's like Rainbow Road and Mario Kart, you know?
Yeah.
You're right. Ah, Clara. Okay, someone just told us to put our camera away because we might get it pickpocketed. Two people actually. They like ran up and told us because we were filming. Gonna have to watch out for that. Now we're in the Mercado Central of Santiago. A lot of action, tons of stalls. Someone told us to put our camera away because it might get pickpocketed, so if you come here, be careful. All sorts of fresh produce, good vibes.
Yourself, done yourself.
Clara. Another guy just told us to put away the phone.
So we're inside the Central Market now, and there seems to be a lot of restaurants, particularly seafood restaurants. I'm not seeing a lot of treats or anything. Basically produce outside and seafood inside.
And classic, a bunch of tourist goodies right behind us.
Yep.
Kind of stinks in there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Floor's all wet. Cool though. Awesome to see like the commerce going on. That was the most people I've ever had tell me to put my phone away in a public place. Yeah. We've had it before. It's common. But yeah, I have an iron grip on this puppy right now. ¿Qué es algo muy chileno?
Like
Chileno.
Sí.
un pastel.
No hay ninguno chileno acá, son todos extranjeros.
¿Todo extranjero? Okay.
Sí.
También nosotros. Claro. Gracias.
Alrighty, so we got some tres leches cake. which is a common dessert here in Chile.
3 milk cake, that's what it translates to.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's literally so dank. I wonder if it's different than other countries.
Yeah, because it's also popular in other Latin American countries too.
Including Spain, which is like just a Latin country. But
So like a Europe, yeah, Latin.
you guys don't want to be over there.
Yum, look at this. Ooh, it just slides like butter. Yum. Wow, so creamy. It just melts in your mouth. I've never had cake just melt in your mouth. Delicious, sweet, light. It's not super heavy. I'm really enjoying this cake. I'm here.
That's not just your cake. Wow. Man, cake is just, I love dulce de leche because it's so moist. You know how a lot of cake can be kind of, it's just like dry. This is just full of sweet milk, baby. About to walk up the St. Lucia Hill. Looks like an entrance to an Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland. Sick. Let's do it. And not die when we cross the street.
All right.
¿Cómo estás?
Oh, sí.
That is a cool tree.
It's too scary, I don't think. You go. If it's really cool, I'll do it.
You'll see the video?
Yeah.
Okay. They made it up here. Bunch of people, but amazing 360-degree views of Santiago. It's crazy how big the mountains are over there. There's another hill right there. You can see the whole city, even like the little people down on the street. Super cool. Rika, whenever you see this, I get why you didn't come up here, but it's pretty cool. One thing I'm noticing while being up here is how big Santiago is. I'm pretty sure 6 or 7 million people are here. You just see skyscrapers forever. Super cool. There's the view, there's Rika. Hey! How you doing?
It even skews me out a little bit with here.
Bring some paint, you can put your name right there. Yeah, probably not supposed to, but you could. Pretty, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice.
It's free too.
It's free.
Totally free, gotta love free.
This overlook is actually really beautiful. It's crazy how the Andes Mountains just circle all of this like city. It's beautiful. Yeah, beautiful.
It's true.
Last thing on the list to do today is to try some Chilean food. I have been waiting for several days to try this dish. I'm super excited. It's called choriana, and it has like everything that I love. Steak and French fries. It also has eggs too on top. It'll be great. Today was a good day.
Really was. Santiago's awesome. Gracias. Es arte. Gracias.
I'm so excited. This is choriana. It has sunny side up eggs on top, meat, onions. It looks like sausage in the middle. And then on the bottom, a whole bunch of fries. My favorite. I'm so excited. All right, I got a little bit of everything. Delicious. The fries are crunchy, the meat is cooked to perfection, onions are delicious and add a ton of flavor. Let me add it with the sausage. The sausage bursts with flavor as soon as I eat it. Delicious. And then the egg on top, it just breaks open and it's amazing.
So oftentimes, Rika orders a lot of food. I get the leftovers. I'm a vegetarian. So this mountain of food right here, that is all Rika.
All mine.
Look at where it is again.
We're back where we started, full circle.
Citigo. Our third stop through this wonderful nation is one we've wanted to go to for a long time.
Welcome to Atacama!
This is the Atacama Desert in Chile, famous for being the driest desert in the entire world, and we're going to be spending the next 72 hours here exploring all the top things to do. Spoiler alert, there's a lot. Because of Atacama's unique climate, the nature here is actually unlike anything we've ever seen in our travels. It truly kept surprising us the entire time we were here. We're broken down in the middle of the desert. We're kind of feeling the altitude at this moment. We're pushing through. Even getting to Atacama was a bit of a challenge. There's no flights directly to the desert, so instead we flew from Santiago to Calama, rented a car for about $30 a day, and drove east into the desert. The main city people stay at while here is actually called San Pedro de Atacama, and when we got to our Airbnb, we actually found sandboards sitting in the living room, ready to use. Prepared to extract every ounce of fun in this beautiful area, we packed up the boards and headed straight for the dunes. We're about to go sandboarding.
This is gonna be something that we've never done before.
Let's do it.
That hill is really tall. I honestly have no idea what to expect. This will be interesting.
We're about to go ride down this huge sand dune. Also, I think this is the first like big real sand dune we've ever seen.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of firsts today. Okay, so the thing about sandboarding in comparison to snowboarding is there's a lot more friction with the sand. So what you have to do is put wax on it. We don't have wax. We didn't know we were gonna be doing this morning. So we went to the store. We heard that bars of soap are a good substitute. You're supposed to do it like the entire surface that it covers. So, and you're supposed to do it between every run. I'm pretty nervous.
Ooh. Didn't even look like it went. You might need more soap.
More wax, yeah. Why don't they have chairlifts? Not to complain though, this is super cool. You have to make each run worth it because the hike is so big. This is crazy. Standing on top of a sand dune looks so epic. Get up here, Rika.
Guys, this hike's steep. Seems like every step I make, it's like 2 steps back too, because it like goes down, the sand goes back down. Oh my. Why it's that? You gotta check out this view, guys. There's our car. All the way down there.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Woohoo! That was such a good practice hill.
We watched one YouTube video on how to do this earlier. It's crazy. You have to lean back and then you just start flying.
Here we goes.
You don't just slide easy, no friction. Here's so much friction. So you just kind of, this time I'm just gonna send it.
Wyatt is naturally good at like pretty much everything athletic, so I'm concerned for myself. My foot is way smaller than Wyatt's.
So
I need a little padding to be able to like fit in the boot. This is not technically what you're supposed to do. They actually have special shoes for it. But since we just got these at our Airbnb, we're going like hillbilly style.
Well, I believe in you.
Woo-hoo! Wow! I almost fell, but I did it. That was really fun. Now I get to climb up. I'm using this as a walking stick. I did that again. Yeah, that's fun. You can see the moon so clearly. You guys, I'm just your average day sand. What is it called? Border? Sand border. Shaka. You do one little bunny slope and you get so much confidence.
There we go. Woo! Yeah! Oh, pretty fast. Whoa! Oh, wow, that kind of hurt. Oh man. Oh, right on my butt. That was the fastest run yet. It was so fast getting down, and it's gonna take so long to get back up.
I like and subscribe.
Yeah, thank you. That was great.
San Pedro.
It's from San Pedro. Yeah.
Enjoy, guys.
Nice folks.
Lot of nice folks.
Yeah. Bend those knees. Yeah. You could totally do the big hill.
I feel like I have so much more balance on this thing than I thought I would.
Okay, getting Rika up for the big hill, sock down. Classic. All right, bail.
Guys, that was so fun, and I did way better than I thought I was gonna do. I actually made it the whole way until the end there when I totally wiped out, but it makes sense to wipe out at the end because you just gain so much momentum, you know? But that was so fun. Definitely recommend, even for people who are like scared like me, to just try it. It's really fun. All right, Wyatt's gonna go.
Is there salt in your teeth? Because there's salt in mine.
Yeah, it's gritty. That was super fun.
I know.
Oh man.
Bring helmets though. You don't want to wipe
Yeah.
out like I did.
Let's bring helmets next time. Oh wow, that was a lot of sand.
There's so much sand everywhere.
Oh, look at that shoe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Are my wheels lined up with the gap?
Yeah, kind of.
Like the one on that side is just gonna roll down, right?
Not really. It's gonna be a little bump, yeah.
Hey.
Alrighty, today we're going on a bit of an adventure out away from the San Pedro de Atacama area. We're actually going to start out at Laguna Cejar.
When you visit San Pedro de Atacama, the thing to do is just to like go on excursions to places around. Yeah, we're just gonna like try to hit as many as we can today and tomorrow, but yeah, it's gonna be a fun adventure.
The roads just get bumpier and bumpier as we get closer to this lagoon.
There's like 5 lagoons. Getting bumpier. Woo!
Alrighty, we're at the checkpoint. There's security people.
No podemos caminar, solo es tierra. Oh. It's closed.
Rule of thumb if you want to visit Laguna Cejar, make sure to check the time, because I think they only go from like 9 to noon. Okay guys, I gotta pee. Yeah, the only bathroom here is Mother Nature.
Rika's peeing in front of the car. Gracias. ¿Y aparcamos y caminamos o? Gracias. We're in the middle of nowhere. And then you just have these weird little lake things. This is Laguna Tibinkich. But they're all salty. If you see around the rim, there's like a little dried salt right there. Guys, I think I was made for the desert. I love this dryness, the heat. I love the wind. I love the colors, the sand, barrenness. And then it gets cold at night. Hey, you found a bathroom. I have to pee in the desert again. Good bathroom?
The bathrooms are so clean and nice and even better than our Airbnb ones.
Wow.
So much dirt. Now it's time to head to the actual Laguna. Wow, it looks like white.
It is. I think it's just salt flats.
Oh my word, it is! That's so cool. Let's stop.
This is crazy. Salt flats. We're the only car in the parking lot in this barren wasteland. Little trail. What's this place called again? Telenquiche? So we're at Tebenquinche.
Laguna.
Laguna Tebenquinche. It is freaking beautiful.
Look, they have like pieces of salt just like in the rocks.
And then we can grind it up and put it in a dish.
Chilean salt.
Yeah. There's just salt everywhere. We're in Salt Flats. This is crazy.
So cool.
It's weird. They're like kind of crunchy, but it's just all white. Feels like snow, but it's not.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's really crunchy on your feet.
One crazy part of this entire place is just how few people there are. Every parking lot we go to, we're like the only ones on the trail. There's no one else. It's just special to have someplace so awesome all to yourselves.
Tour group going. See, that's an option.
That is an option. I'm so glad we got a car. This is so nice to be free.
Oh, she's letting us through.
Give me a little face.
It's a little snowman. Look at these boys. Oh, this one's so close. Hi, buddy.
Hey, donkey.
Donkey. Woohoo! We're going to see some flamingos! We are almost at our next stop, which is Lake Chacha. And it's got more salt flats and flamingos.
Little tornado over there. Didn't get it. It was too quick, but. Okay, so there's two options when you come to Laguna Chacha. You can go just right to the water where there's a few flamingos, or you can do this 30 to 40 minute route, which we're starting right now. And apparently there's a lot of flamingos.
So to get into the Laguna Chacha Park, you have to pay 8,000 Chilean pesos per person, but it's honestly already worth it for us because these views are so cool. It's like desert, into lake, into salt, into mountains. There are so many flamingos in the distance. I'm so excited.
I can't see them.
You don't have your glasses on.
Yeah.
All right, so you can kind of see them from here. This is like the first viewpoint, but they're kind of far away. So we're really hoping that we can get a little closer to them on this trail.
Okay, so everywhere here is salt flats. So I'm gonna kind of pick some up and see if it tastes salty. Is that a weird, dumb thing to do? I feel like it's kind of fun.
Clyde always wants to taste things.
You gotta put it in your mouth to really know what it is. Okay, you see that?
Don't eat too much.
Salty. That's nice. That's really nice. Maybe it has flamingo poop in it. Probably clean. Okay, the flamingos are literally right there.
So we finally got up close to the flamingos, and turns out you can actually get here from the short or long path. Here's why I'm getting the perfect shots. We have to be quiet. We don't want to disturb them. They're so majestic.
It's crazy, like how just peaceful and majestic they are, you know?
Yeah, they're beautiful. They're just chilling and they be feasting.
Yeah, they're just out here chowing shrimp. There's a bunch of shrimp in here and they're just like digging their beaks into the water to find them. Flamingo footprints. Crazy, look at all these flamingo feathers. See those? Oh, there's a red one over there. The volcanic aspect here is very apparent, just with the sulfur smell. It smells kind of like eggs. You guys know what I mean. Bye bye flamingos.
Llama sign!
Llama crossing! Only in South America. That's so cool. The sheepy! Bah! Sheep go bah, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it is 5 a.m. We got up. We're heading to the geysers, which is like another top 3 thing to do here in San Pedro de Atacama. We have Rika here. 2 friends, Leon and Vivian. We're gonna introduce you to them later. It's very early, so we're just gonna get on the road. And on the way up, we got treated to some amazing stargazing. With no moon and no cities around for light pollution, no humidity, an extremely high altitude of 14,000 feet resulting in little air, witnessing the view firsthand was nothing short of breathtaking. After a lot of oohing and awing, we continued the rest of the way up. Okay, we have our tickets. They cost $15,000 each in this little office. A lot of people, actually not so many, but Leon's dancing to get warm. It's very cold. We're at 4,000 meters, and now we're gonna go see some geysers. Let's go.
We're here. There's so much steam.
I know, and the sun's rising.
So Chile has a lot of volcanic activity here, and so that's kind of where the geysers exist.
There's a ton of geysers. It's the 3rd most active place volcanic-wise in the entire world. You guys want to introduce yourselves, our new friends?
Hello. Hi, soy Leon. Hey, Vivi.
From Chile, Germany.
Like a crazy mix.
Yeah. And the USA. And we're at some geysers. It's like a hot tub, no? It's kind of crazy. You just like get out of the car and then you have free range to walk everywhere.
Yeah, there's no path. It's
No
actually,
system.
It's concerning to me because it's very dangerous. Oh my god, this is so cool.
Wow! You vanish. Oh, this is like a superhero movie. There's just like gas coming out of that hole. It's kind of spooky. Like it's just, what is happening? It does feel like another planet, no?
The colors of the sky.
I feel like the Earth is just beginning right now or something. It's like a belly button.
Now that the sun is rising, you can get a way better view of like the mountains, and also the geysers are way more clear.
In the morning, it's extra special too, because like the cold air makes the steam more steamy, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's more obvious, but in the middle of the day, I guess it's like less contrast. That kind of stinks, huh?
Yeah, it smells like eggs.
That one's like a perfect hot tub. Should we get in? No.
I don't want to get like cooked.
You know, they treat me as their king and put me in a hot tub. It is, I guess, their royal hot tub.
It's so cool. You walk around and you just hear a low gurgle, like boiling water, everywhere you go. Coming out of the little holes. It's just otherworldly here. Truly otherworldly. We weren't sure if we were going to come here while in San Pedro de Atacama. So glad we did. This is like incredible. So the altitude is so high that I'm like, just walking a little bit, you get out of breath. Do you feel that too, Rika?
Yeah, shortness of breath. It's like walking up a hill and my like heart was starting to pound.
It's like a tiny hill. It's cool too because they go in cycles. Like sometimes it's very calm and sometimes they're just pumping out water. Right now this one's just like boop, 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 boop. So we think with the altitude our lips are a bit purple, eh?
Yeah.
And the cold maybe, yeah.
Show your hands. They're also a bit,
Oh wow, yeah.
but they're brown and a bit purple.
Do you feel okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
alright.
All right.
We found animals among the geysers, which I'm honestly shocked about because I figured there was like no like living things so close to them, but there is, and they're like deer, and Wyatt's taking a video of them right now. Actually, I think they're the things that look like alpacas, but they're not called alpacas. I forget what they're called.
Guanacos or something. Alrighty, we are at the second, there are two geyser areas here. This is the lower one. The sun has risen. We're kind of feeling the altitude at this moment. We're pushing through.
What are you doing?
The water's nice and warm. You have to be careful because sometimes it's very, very hot. But if you like feel it, then you know how the temperature. Oh, a frog! A little frog.
Where?
See a frog? A frog! Hop, hop. Hey, swim. It swims good. Anyway, yeah, be careful touching the water because it can be scalding, but other places it's like lukewarm and wonderful.
It's crazy that that's actually like natural, you know, and not like
Yeah,
man-made fountain. It just like pops up on its own.
for sure. Yeah, usually when you use bubbles in water, it's a pipe and man-made. Here
Yeah.
it's just nature at its finest. Both girls are here resting.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like exhausted.
Yeah, it's hard to feel
That's
full
like my
energy.
only feeling, like is just like I want to, like my eyes are so heavy.
This one's like churning. It seems so hot.
It's time to head out of here. Move on. Great experience. Definitely recommend. It's like literally a whole other planet.
That was a Zorro Copeo. Okay, now we went to a place called Volcan Blanco, or the White Volcano. So you can see this whole hill is white. It is also thermal, and it has water running right into this ravine, which is a river.
Yeah, we're just chilling.
So the plan is the girls are gonna stay behind. Me and Leon are gonna walk along until it gets colder, because right now is like right at the source of the hot spring. But if you walk down the river, it supposedly like gets colder. It's just so trippy to be, near a warm river. Rivers in my mind are always cold, but this one's like steaming hot right down there. Alrighty, we walked down this stream for quite a while to try to find a spot where the water's cool enough to get in. This feels perfect, like a little bit warmer than body temperature. Guys, that is magical. I just get so giddy when I'm in a place like this, but no joke, it's just like so relaxing to be in nature by ourselves. Leon is just chilling, relaxing. I love going off the tourist track a little bit, because then you can, whatever you see is just a surprise, you know, like a blessing, a gift. If this isn't a gift, I don't know what is. We are walking back, they're still taking a nap. That, where we left the girls at, is the white geyser, and that's what flows and makes this whole creek where we just went. They've been cooking up there for a while, so we're gonna go check out and make sure they're okay. How are you?
She did that nap.
You guys been napping the whole time? It's still, they're coming closer.
The guy was looking right at me.
I know, that was magical. Monacos just came right up to us. They slowly got closer and we didn't say anything, so they would get close. It's crazy, this little geyser goes down, goes down, goes down, and becomes that big river down there. Or at least it's a part of it, you know. We found real llamas. Look at them. Hello.
Okay, bye. Give the pocket.
I'm scared.
Okay.
Just driving, saw a huge herd. What do you call a group of llamas? There must be a word. Ton of llamas right here. Look at that guy. They're so cute, actually. Like, they're so fluffy. I didn't know that. No joke. 20 meters down the road, huge flock of flamingos.
The car's not working.
Yeah, car broke down in the middle of the desert. Hola, ¿cómo están? Sí, nuestro coche hemos parado un ratito, pero no empieza ahora.
No parte.
No parte. ¿Sabes coches? Sí. Ojalá que sea algo muy sencillo. We think it's because this thing is unconnected. Like, so the battery won't even start. It was really weird. It was kind of scary because we're like in the middle of nowhere.
We're in like an area where there's tourists, so. Diego's helping us. He's the best.
I have moral support here.
We're going to make the contact.
This seems way more elaborate than I was hoping for.
I know.
Yes, sir.
Woohoo! Yay! Diego and Leon are the best.
On the road again.
Let's just make it to San Pedro at this point. So, on our last afternoon in San Pedro de la Cama, we are going to explore the town a little bit and just see what it has to offer.
All right, we made it back safely to the town. We actually had to go to a mechanic and fix the car, but it's all better. But now we're back in San Pedro de Atacama. This is the literal city where we've been based out of, doing all these excursions. And right in the center of it, they have a cute little plaza. There's a lot of locals, a lot of like rustic sort of buildings that are very desert-like. And the trees are just gorgeous, which you don't really have much in the desert.
I gotta say, this is definitely the place to go to if you want like a souvenir or something. They have all different types of little stands selling different things. Hats, trinkets, jewelry, massages. I mean, come on.
Guys, we got sunburned today.
Yep. It's really important to wear sunscreen here, guys. The atmosphere is just like...
so thin. Doesn't protect you at all from UV. It's just like getting hit straight with the sun. It's just such a nice respite from the desert.
It's a nice, fresh breath of air after all of that crazy desert stuff we went to.
Yeah, just glad to be in civilization again. Look at how proper this dog is right now. Has its arms crossed.
So cute.
She is an elegant lady.
So past the plaza, you can walk down this long street full of tour agency places where you can check out what type of tours they have here in San Pedro de Atacama. If you're not renting a car, that's a great option.
Yeah, it seems easy. You just like walk in. You can hike volcanoes. You can go to the flamingo places where we went. You can go to the salt flats. You can go to the, what do we do? The geysers.
Geysers. The geysers is a super popular one.
You can go sandboarding. Like, if you want to do anything, it's from here. Okay, Rika's sunburn is funny because there's like a line here and a here. Yeah.
Just like a
It's how I covered my face.
like a mask.
It looks like you ate a lot of strawberry
It looks like I have
strawberry ice cream.
It looks like I have a rash growing up from my...
Oh yeah, it'll be fine.
We are now at Galleria El Parral, I think it's pronounced, which is a huge market selling more souvenirs.
Gracias.
How much was it?
It was 4,000 pesos, so like $4, and now my face won't get burned. Very cheap.
All right, now that Wyatt has his hat, I'm going back to the hat game, and we're gonna go get some ice cream.
This is desert flower. Desert flower is like you're eating a flower. Like, you know how flower smells? It's like you're eating it. Wow, I'm gonna eat Rika Rika. Rika Rika is very Rika. So I guess there's a bunch of different types of cactus. The big, tall ones, you're not allowed to cut down here. They're actually protected. This is Ariompo cactus, which is like the fruit of a really spiky cactus. We'll like put it on the screen. It's like
Your
fruit.
face had the same color than your ice cream.
My face looks like the ice cream, apparently.
I'm not getting ice cream today. I know, it's a shock. I've been having troubles getting accustomed to the food in Chile, so I decided to stray from the sugar today.
Okay, we have like 15 minutes till the sunset. We're gonna go try to catch an awesome one in the Valle de la Luna.
That's like the one thing that's like super popular here that we haven't done yet, and the park is actually closed. But we're hoping we're gonna be able to see it from like outside. We'll see.
Desert sunsets are different.
Super cool. You got the sunset behind us, the Valle de la Luna to the right.
What a day. We watched the sunrise, watched it set. It is not every day that we get to explore this kind of place. A place that we've been dreaming about for years and yet still manages to surpass all expectations. That connects us with fellow travelers, that throws us a broken down car and some altitude sickness and yet still leaves us thirsting for more. Atacama, you mind bender, soul stealer, you've won our hearts. And to you watching, we hope you give it a chance to win over yours. And our last stop in Chile is somewhere we never expected to be able to visit in our travels. It's hard to get to, it's expensive, and it takes a while to get there. But when your mom invites you to go, you say yes. This is Easter Island. It's home of the famous Moai statues, and we're going to be staying here for our last 4 days in Chile. We go with many questions and no answers. Why do these statues exist in the first place? What's it like to live on one of the most isolated islands on the planet? How similar is Rapa Nui, the indigenous name for the island, to Chile, to which it pertains? And lastly, what's it like to visit this place as a tourist? Ready to go to Easter Island?
Yeah.
That's us. Rapa Nui, Easter Island. That's what that is. Let's go. Here's the gate for Easter Island. No idea what to expect. We're super pumped to just be going to such an iconic island. It is going to be a 5-hour and 40-minute flight directly west straight into the Pacific. Easter Island's one of the most remote islands in the entire world, so it's super grateful to be able to go. And joining us on this journey is my wonderful mom. She's wanted to come here for years and is the person who inspired me to travel in the first place. She's an excellent addition to the team. Flight is huge. We made it to Easter Island. The runway's so small, the ocean's right over there. And then it ends right there. In hindsight, I said that because the Easter Island runway spans the entire island, making it look small, but it's actually really long at 10,885 feet. And fun fact, it was actually made this long to serve as an emergency landing site for the United States Space Shuttle. Hola. Wow. Ah, thank you.
I'm Celine. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Are these real flowers?
Yes.
First 5 minutes at Easter Island, we got a lay on.
I think this is the most welcoming entrance from the airport that I've ever had.
We got statues already right here.
Oh my word.
This is insane. Fresh flower lays. How are you doing, Mom?
I'm doing great, honey. I'm so happy to be part of this with you guys.
I'm so happy you're here.
Already it's better than I expected.
I know. We're in Easter Island. This is insane.
Oh, look at these.
I wish we could
Look at these.
Oh, they braided them. Look at where we are. Like, you zoom out even a little bit, and we're immediately just a dot in the middle of the ocean. We are all so excited to be at such an iconic place. One of those places you're not sure if you're gonna go to in your life. So the fact that you're here is just extra special, you know? But yeah, so people from the hotel recruited us right outside the airport. It was super nice. And we have a group of us to take a van to the hotel, so it should be sweet. So this is the Teariki Hotel, and cost, I think, $700 for 2 rooms for 3 nights.
Look at that. We got a little chicken.
That
A little rooster or chicken friend. This seems like a whole nother world, guys. It's crazy. Wait, check this out. I think these are peppers.
Banana tree, avocado tree.
All right, we're gonna show you our room. Nice bed, TV, a lot of storage space too.
Super tasteful.
Oh, it's beautiful.
That's the bathroom. Oh, big. Wow. Here's the pool. We're about to go explore the town. Figured I'd just soak my feet. I'm in full island vibes, just embracing it. This place is magical. Really feels like Hawaii, which figures because both Pacific islands. You island vibed out too now?
Now paradise ready.
Let's go. Everyone we've asked, how is it to live in Easter Island, like the locals, they're always like, it's paradise. Once we settled in, we set out to begin our Easter Island explorations with Hangaroa, the biggest town on the island. Look at this tree, a straight up window.
We're walking down the streets right now, and the amount of like flowers and flora they have here is insane. Like just in this like alleyway alone, there's like maybe 4 or 5 different types of flowers, and they're all beautiful.
Wow.
Oh my word, they're made from volcanic rock. I wonder if that's real volcanic rock.
Oh, for sure.
Out. That way is Berlin, and this way is London, and that way is New York. That's cool.
And they're all so far away. We're far from everything. Water's insane.
Look! There's a turtle! Okay, we just saw a turtle. It's a little hard to see because it blends in so well with the rocks, but it's so cute.
We are just all kind of excited and just kind of freaking out about how cool this place really is and how we didn't know what to expect, but the culture, the ocean, the vibes. Let's go. Nice job. You're a natural. Do you have any Easter Island blood in you somewhere? Gracias. That's a passion fruit daiquiri.
Banana and passion fruit daiquiri. We got local beers.
Mango daiquiri.
Is it good?
Yeah, but I just poured it.
I had to drink it quickly.
How's the daiquiri?
Oh my word, delicious. Oh, this is dangerous.
Tastes like liquid mango. Nice. Bodua Ora. Let's go see a show.
Now we're at Punta Arenas, which is basically a Rapa Nui local like dance performance. Apparently it's gonna be really cool. I think it's gonna tell stories of the island, the culture. It's gonna be awesome.
They let you get your face painted like the Rapa Nuians, Easter Islanders.
Woohoo!
How does it look?
Wow.
Yeah?
Yeah. Cute.
Ah. That was an hour and a half of wiggling and shaking and crazy.
Lots of credit to the dancers. They literally were on stage for an hour and a half, just like full sending it.
It was intense.
It was just wonderful.
Yeah, it was really cool. Really cool.
Alrighty, so today is all things tour. We are going to go to all of the cool spots with all the muay. We have a private tour with, what is it called? Kava Kava?
Kava Kava.
Kava Kava tours. It's gonna be really cool. But first, we're gonna get some breakfast.
Yeah, by the way, Moai are the big head statues, iconic ones. That's what we're gonna go see today.
We are going to Moika Ra, I think it's pronounced. And there is literally this one lady, and she is the champ, cooking up all of our meals from scratch all by herself.
Wow.
And es una artista. After an honestly delicious breakfast of fruit and freshly caught fish, we paid $58 US for the entire meal, which was a bit pricey, but this island on average is more expensive than the rest of Chile. And then it was finally time to head out and explore the island.
All right, it's time to go on the tour.
Finished breakfast, getting in the car, let's do it. Okay, first stop, Akivi. Let's check it out. We're just walking here, look over, there's flipping 7 statues just right there. It didn't take long to answer one of our biggest questions of the trip: why do Moai exist in the first place? As we learned from our guide Hugo, every Moai statue is essentially a gravestone, but with a twist. The ancient tribes here actually believed these statues brought their loved ones back to life. So once a statue was finished, complete with its eyes, they rejoiced in knowing that they had snatched one more person from the dead. These first 7 statues we're visiting are actually thought to be some of the oldest on the island. And according to legend, they were made to honor the first 7 explorers who found Rapa Nui. They're one of the only ones on the island facing towards the ocean. The rest are facing inland, and that's because they're facing towards where their previous island was located. As you can see on these 7 statues right here, 4 of them have actually had their necks broken, and there was an archaeologist that came and put cement, and you can see it on 4 of them to like sort of get their heads up on top again, and they toppled over too. So restoration efforts are pretty cool to see.
Now we're at Punapau Hiti Rao.
It seems like tourism here, you just kind of like drive around to different spots. It's super cool.
So right behind me is the only place that they make the little top knots, like the hairdos, of the Moai statues, which is super interesting. They have this whole intricate process.
Oh, look at this crater. Now we're stopped at Ranokau, which is a huge 2 million year old crater, a volcanic crater that was about to explode, but then you can see on that rim of the crater, that's where actually a lot of the pressure went out, and then the whole thing imploded. And that's why it's created this nice basin. It takes about 2.5 hours to walk around the whole thing. And it's full of like 50 meters deep of fresh water at the bottom. But yeah, one of the cool parts about Easter Island, I think we were expecting it to only be the statues, but it's just kind of blown us away how many, that's just like one part of the story of Rapa Nui, of Easter Island. Now we're going on a hike, just a 10-minute one around this rim of the crater. It's so windy up here, as you can tell. Yeah, super cool. Easter Island has not disappointed. one bit.
So off the southwest corner of the island are a group of these rock buildings which are unique to the history of the island. We didn't know this, but rather than one common people, Easter Island actually contained many different tribes, and once a year, people from each tribe would take part in a competition which involves scaling down these huge cliffs, swimming to some little islands, and returning with the egg of the sooty tern bird.
Whoever did that first, and the egg had to actually hatch.
Their respective chief would be the chief of the island for that year.
The Rapa Nuians were an outdoor people, only used houses for sleeping, and they have a tiny little entrance to actually protect themselves in case there was battle. We're just learning so much on this tour about the culture. It's so interesting. These people lived on a tiny island, 64 square miles in the middle of the Pacific. They had all their cultures and stuff. It's super cool.
Next stop.
So now we're on the southernmost area of the island. We're at Raruku, which is the quarry, and we're gonna get some lunch really quick before checking those out.
Right next to it.
Yeah.
Beef, salad, veggies, rice. Oh, this is good. Amazing.
Okay, so now we're at the quarry where all of the statues were made for the entire island, all the moai. And there's a bunch that were like still in the process of being made when sort of everything stopped that are just still here. So it's like a sea of the statues, which is just insane.
Yeah, it looks epic. It's like what you think of when you think of Easter Island.
Yeah, it's iconic Easter Island stuff. This is gonna be crazy. There's just so many of them. And they're all like well done. I don't know why these ones weren't shipped out. Probably because they had to finish details, but they're just crazy. There's so many. Look, way more over there too. Crazy, guys. Easter Island is nuts.
This place is like a whole nother world. When you're here, it's just like wild. These rocks are so impressive. I just can't believe we're here right now.
So right here is literally where they carved out the statues back in the day. You see the rivets alongside of this potential statue? That is where people would actually sit or stand and just carve all day. They had these stone tools, and there'd just be 50 of them right there working away at it. It's crazy. I love that they're still in process because it kind of gives you a clue as to how they were made. Can you guys see the nose of one of the statues that they carved? It's still like unfinished. They just have it lying flat on its back.
So this one behind me is one of the older moai, and you can tell it's older because it's way more human-like than some of the newer moai, because back in the day they made it way more human-like. It took a lot of time, but then after a certain point in time, they're thinking about like 1100s, they switched to that other style, which was way more efficient, more easy to do.
Crazy. There's no one here at Easter Island with us. There's like a few tourists we've seen, but most of the places we've had to ourselves. This one, the quarry, all to ourselves.
Yeah. Probably one of the most epic things we've ever been to.
Yeah. undoubtedly.
Also have beards.
This guy's a beard. Crazy. This is just so incredible. Look at that. We're in Easter Island. This is crazy.
Iconic.
Now time for one of the coolest parts. It's gonna be insane. It's the 1 second from the left right there. That was actually in front of the Natural History Museum in New York. And I think maybe it was the one in Night at the Museum, if you've seen it. Dum Dum, Gimme Gum Gum.
Dum Dum.
Yes?
You give me Gum Gum.
I give you Gum Gum?
You do Dum Dum. You give me Gum Gum.
But then it's since been returned. So it's just crazy. Like all of the most iconic images you have of Easter Island are probably using that one right there. So we were just commenting on how like different they all are, different heights, different facial expressions, and Hugo told us that I guess they were all built in like different time periods, and they're just all unique. Every single one of them is unique. None of them were made to be the exact same, but they all should have top knots, but only one of them does. And that's actually, they asked the archaeologists to do that for them, and then they at night got drunk and turned on the crane and just did it themselves. We're at the last stop of this tour. It is the beach. It's really green here because there's been a lot of rain actually recently. We're here in April and it's like starting to rain more, I guess.
Look at these statues, guys. They are amazing. These have a lot more top knots on them than the other ones we've seen. I can like only imagine what it looked like back when like they were like in their prime. You know what I mean?
Originally, the last thing to go on the moai, first you put the top knot and then you put the eyes on there, the whites and then the pupil. The whites were made of barnacle or like coral from the ocean, and then the black was made from obsidian, which is super cool. And the spirits of the people who have passed away are said to like belong in the eyes. If a tribe was getting invaded, they would take the eyes off, so like take their loved ones who've passed away with them and then go hide. So that's why a lot of them actually don't have eyes, because before the people died, they took them off so that they'd bring their loved ones with them and then pass away. The year all of the tribes sort of like started fighting each other is the year they stopped making them. A lot of the tribes pushed the ones over of the other tribes to like show them that they've been defeated. And then there was a tsunami here 40 or 50 years ago after the biggest earthquake in recorded history, 9.7, that washed away a lot of stuff. So this beach right here is actually where they believe the first sort of Polynesians that actually came to live on Easter Island docked their boats. It's the only beach on the island, and it's sort of like covered or protected by the open ocean, so the waves aren't as big. And this is where they believe they pulled up their boats for the first time and stepped into their new home.
They got all these stores around the islands, classic souvenirs.
Aprons, baby clothes, hats, postcards.
Really, this one's really cool. We took a picture there.
Yeah, we were there yesterday. There's two harbors on Easter Island. There's Hangapico and Hangaroa. Hangaroa is like the main city with most of the places. That's where most of the hotels are. Hangapico is a little smaller, and the walk there is absolutely insane. As you can see, there's a moai right on the coast. Rika's actually, even though she's sunbathing, she's actually on a meeting right now. Rika has a remote job as like a social media manager, and so she does meetings in a lot of crazy places. That's her working right there in Easter Island. But yeah, we're just soaking in the views. It's really insane just how picturesque and beautiful this place is. Isn't this a beautiful harbor?
It's so lovely. Oh, it's wonderful.
What do you think about Easter Island?
It's wonderful.
It's magical, isn't it?
It is.
Look at this shipping container home. Gotta love the different creative housing styles here. Makes sense. I mean, they say the toughest part to building a house is shipping the materials here, because the wood on the island, all they have is eucalyptus, and it's not good enough to make like wooden beams for lumber and stuff, so they have to ship it all in. Looks like a cucumber, but I know it's not.
A decoration. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. This is great though. Look at these chairs. The ocean view.
All right, we got some Aperol Spritz, which looks delicious. I'm gonna try it. Oh my word, that made it so much better. You gotta squeeze the orange in it, but it's really delicious.
Got one here. How's your wine?
Let me try it.
Okay. This is a food tour.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah?
But for a beautiful sunshiny day, this is perfect.
Hey, gracias. Wow.
Wow. I got pesto and shrimp. I'm guessing it was fresh because they say they catch it like,
oh my God,
once a day. Is it good?
it's so good.
I think it was caught today because they don't serve anything.
They don't serve anything
yesterday.
yesterday.
Freshly caught shrimp. Insane.
So
I gotta look at this quinoa salad.
That looks delicious with the papas.
I know. Boy, what's your name, boy? What's your name?
100% recommend walking along the lake coast or the Malecone or whatever you want to call it. The ocean is gorgeous. The sun, it's just a vibe.
Okay, I'm trying to get a surfboard here. That's my board over there. He gave me a bunch of advice. I guess there are some sea urchins out there. I'm pumped. Gonna give the phone to Rika and they're gonna walk.
It's a full loop rainbow. That is so beautiful. Okay, well, Wyatt's out doing his thing on the surf. I'm gonna go try it and find some turtles, or at least fish. I'm snorkeling. All right, guys. We conquered the mission. We saw turtles. I'm honestly upset though because our underwater waterproof bag or whatever that we put our camera in was so blurry. I really hope the footage comes out at least semi-okay so you guys can see the turtles because they are so cute. And you guys got to see this because there's these dogs and they're here every day around this spot and they literally scout for turtles. This guy right here scouts for turtles. See, you look at him looking in the water right here. He like knows. He likes to watch the turtles. It's the cutest thing. Oh, here he comes. He's following me. He's watching the turtles. You see one, bud?
I'm not very good at this. I tried though, it was fun. It was really hard because I was just scared. There's a whole sea of urchins. They're like tons of them.
Wait, in that one area?
Oh, right in the worst part, because it's the shallow part where you want to surf. So if you fall, every time I fell, I was waiting for one to like hit me in the back.
That's scary.
Yeah. Here's what a Easter Island grocery store looks like. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. You find something good?
Found cereal. Ooh.
Easter Island grocery store kind of has a lot. It's like everything has to get imported here. Those potatoes. That's not. That can't be a potato. That thing's huge. This is as big as my head. Maururu Yorana.
Gracias.
So Yorana is like the equivalent of the Hawaiian aloha. It can be used as hello or goodbye. Yeah, you hear it all the time. Yorana, Yorana. It's pretty cool. It's like the local Rapa Nuian language. Woo! Like Cinderella. Wow.
It's really, really pretty.
Super cute. Oh, that's a nice color.
Like this one, I really like the color.
I like that one, hey.
Looks like little avocados on there.
You like the purple one better?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Yay! We're having some poached eggs on toast today.
Yep.
Compliments to Kathy.
Fuel. Thanks, Mom.
Welcome.
Excellent job over here. The plan is eat breakfast and then seize the day. Packing up. We don't have to leave for a couple hours, so we're gonna head back to town for a little bit, but they're kicking us out at 11.
And it is the last day. It is time for us to leave.
We're trying ice cream. Yeah, what are you looking at? What are you getting?
Oh, I already know. I'm gonna get chocolate with topping.
It's always a safe bet. Hiya. This is like a local fruit ice cream. It's nice. Wow.
What is it?
Dulce de leche, like sweet milk.
Dulce de leche.
Yeah. Is it good?
Wow.
Can I try this?
Yeah.
Look at this.
That's a big boy.
That's a big boy. We got our ice cream, our dripping ice cream, and we're walking back because our shuttle is in 20 minutes.
A little parting gift.
Soy Rapa Nui?
Gracias.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. They have little
Moai.
moai on them.
There are some local Rapa Nuians who want their land back. The airport was, I guess, built on their land by the United States as a military base during World War II. It's the longest runway in the world, I believe, and you could land the space shuttle on it. But yeah, anyways, in doing that, they took a lot of local land. So there's protesters blocking the road over here. So we actually have to walk to the airport.
All right, everybody,
this ends our Easter Island video.
Yeah, what a privilege to be able to come to such an amazing, iconic place.
Definitely.
And it met and exceeded every single one of our expectations. And if you have any questions, leave them below in the comments. We'll answer them right away. And we really hope you enjoyed this video. It was really fun to make.
Yep. Make sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon.
Peace out, guys.
While summing up Chile, I could talk about the fun vibes of Punta Arenas, the cool sights of Santiago, the otherworldliness of Atacama, and Easter Island, a true marvel just sitting there out in the Pacific. But sometimes, the fewer the words, the better. Chile is just, well, it's just great. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe as we're trying to reach 15,000 subscribers by the end of 2024. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.